Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. I was just finished Stoke 0, West Ham 3, and you've got 3 happy hammers here. Well, I assume the other 2 are happy as I am. But let's get straight into it. Tom, it was quite a sketchy opening. Then it all kicked off. Shaqiri, great cross, short cross header, hit the post, went right down the other end. Lanzini ran pretty much the length of the pitch. Down he went, penalty. But before we talk about the penalty, was it a penalty or was it a dive for you, Tom?
I think it was a dive. He's probably going to be looking at a retrospective ban for it. I mean, obviously, on one hand, you're happy that it's gone our way, but if it's happened to you, you feel aggrieved by it. So, unfortunately for me, it's bad from Lanzini. He's dived before he's gone into, I don't know if it's Peters' knee. So it's probably might even look at that retrospectively. But I think it's weird because the referee had an excellent position. And obviously, you could see that his motion was diving before he hit into his knee. So, no, it was a dive for me.
Gonzo, do you agree with that? Was it a dive for you?
100%. Tom Daly would have been proud of that one. When what Tom said was absolutely right. How he fooled the referee into thinking it was an actual challenge is beyond me. And I do agree with what he said about. I would imagine retrospective action will come into play because they've got that panel now, haven't they? So. Yeah, it was a dive, very naughty boy, but sort of slyly sneaky. Well done, because we needed that a little bit, although we don't condone that sort of thing, do we? So, yeah, dive.
I can kind of see why Lanzini's gone down, actually. I think he sees the tackle coming, and he does what everybody does in that position. They start to go down, because what's the alternative? He's genuinely meant to just stand still, knowing that he's already get smashed into. So he sort of goes down, anticipating this challenge, but Peters then backs out of it halfway through the slide tackle. He takes his legs away and goes, oh, actually, no, I'm not going to go in. Is it a dive? Yes. But I can kind of see why Lanzini's gone down to the ground. Gareth Bale used to do it all the time when he's in Premier League. That's how he won most of his pens, because he'd draw the defender in, then the defender would pull out a little bit. But the real question is, what the hell is Peters doing? Why is he even sliding on the deck in the first place in that position? Lanzini technically sort of going away from goal as well. But it is a dive. No, Mark Noble on his 300th appearance in the Premier League for West Ham converts it 1-0. It was going so the first half, right at the end there. Would you say the referee was in control of that half? It was very sort of physical. It was very brutal. A lot of fouls going for each side.
Well, you've come to the wrong fella, to be fair, because I had the second half in glorious Technicolor, and the first half was patchy and sketchy, and I didn't see much of it at all. Obviously, I saw the dive, saw the goal, didn't see an awful lot. So I will have to ask Tom about that one, I'm afraid, mate.
I mean, I think he had to an extent. Obviously, it was a scrappy game. It's 2 sides down the bottom of the table. Stoke haven't won in however many games. We're off the back of a pretty fantastic week, to be honest with you. And I think there was a few challenges that had gone in for both sides, for Stoke as well. Questionable decisions that he made. I've never actually seen this referee ref in the Premier League before. I don't know if he was new. Obviously, I know you probably know more than me, Gio, in that respect. But and I didn't think he was in control of it at that point. And I did think he'd lost it towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, I certainly did as well. On the 32nd minute, Captain Mark Noble went off for Declan Rice with an injury. On the 37th minute is when Marko Arnautovic decided to pull his first shot at goal, as he had a decent chance, but it was a very good save by Jack Buckland in the end. And then just before half-time, Arnautovic once again went close. 58 minutes, though, the same guy went close once more. It was a good run. Masuaku with a fine ball down the left. He cut across the 18-yarder, but was deflected wide. Then in the 66th minute, the same guy goes close again. This time he hits the bar, and you're thinking he's getting closer. Marko Arnautovic is getting closer. And then David Moyes made an early sub for once, 66 minutes, and Sakho comes on from Mikel Antonio. In the 72nd minute, I know I'm jumping quite far on the game here, but Ryan Shawcross went close with arguably Stoke's best chance of the game from a header from 6 yards out. And then Gonzo, 75 minutes in, he finally got his goal. We all sort of knew it was coming. But what a goal it was, I think. I think a lot of people think, oh, it was Arnautovic against his old club. I think you need to forget about that for a minute and just actually appreciate just how good that, first of all, the 1-2, and second, the finish to an extent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know De Bruyne's ball was slightly different the other day, but everyone was praising his ball to Silva, if you remember. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. That is as you might call it a 1-2, but it was a little bit more than that. And of course, we've been under pressure before that. I was getting quite frustrated at this point because I thought we'd invited Stoke onto us. I think Stoke had more possession, between I don't know, between the 50th and 65th minute they've probably had all season. We were starting to make them look like Barcelona, sitting back. I'm thinking, what are we doing? Obviously, it was all part of Moyes' cunning plan to counter-attack them. For those of you that have not seen the goal, Arnautovic decided to play a 1-2 with Lanzini in a sort of outside right forward position. Played a 1-2, then Lanzini dinks the ball over. What a beautiful chip. Arnautovic controls it and then hits it. He sort of just dinks it, doesn't it, with his left foot low and past the keeper. It was a very, very good goal.
Tom, did you think, as Gonzo said, this was obviously part of the plan, sit back and try and get counter-attacking football. Is it risky, though? Because arguably, like I said, Shawcross were very, very close, but they were knocking on the door for quite a while in that second half until we got the second goal.
I think, obviously, they were knocking on the door for quite a while in that second half. But it's almost that difference that Moyes has made since he's taken over the manager's job. Like Gonzo said, they look aside, or we look aside, that they're quite comfortable sitting on the back foot now. We soaked up the pressure against Arsenal, we soaked up the pressure against Chelsea, and I think they've realised if they can do it against those top teams, they felt quite comfortable today. Reed slid out and Collins stepped in today, and they looked exactly the same. And I know that they came close a couple of times, but you didn't really feel as if they were going to get anywhere or convert any of their chances, so to speak. So I think that's almost the mentality that Moyes has instilled in them. That defensive approach, but also to counter quickly. And actually, as a system, I thought it worked quite well because we know that they needed to play differently against Stoke as to what we've done against Chelsea and Arsenal in the week. And would that sort of five at the back or counter-attacking system work against a team like Stoke? But I think Moyes has got his tactics absolutely spot on today, and I think he's executed it perfectly. And like I said, I feel comfortable for the first time saying it this season. I feel absolutely comfortable that teams are going to, put pressure on us because, like I said, we dealt with it superbly today. And do you know what? We've not had many goals to choose from this season, but it was a fantastic team move and set up and a fantastic finish by Arnautovic, who thoroughly deserved that goal today.
78 minutes, Arnautovic did go, but what do you make of his performance, Tom? I know you just touched on it there, but it was deserved his goal. Missed quite a few chances. Should we be looking at the chances missed, or will we let him off because it was the turn to the Stoke? And he fairly made the most of it anyway when he got subbed. Just before he got subbed, he did the cross hammers to the Stoke fans, and he was cracking the West Ham fans. He was walking along the side of the pitch, etc. But what did you make of him?
Do you see that it's weird because on the one hand, I think he enjoys being public enemy number one. I think he enjoys that role of being the protagonist, so to speak. And I thought he was excellent today. Obviously, you can sort of say probably there was a couple of chances you think he might have done better or could have scored. But I like the fact that he didn't give up, and I think that having the Stoke fans at his back and booing him and getting on his back almost buoyed him on to want to perform even better. And I'm glad that Moyes didn't take him off early either. And you can see that the emotion and the celebration for him and when he scored his goal. So, and you do, like I said, if you score against your old clubs, you'd like to be a dumbed down celebration, but that's not Arnautovic. That's not his character. He enjoys being public enemy number one. So it was a brilliant finish to slide it under the keeper, and the celebrations match was just as good. And I like I said today, he didn't stop trying, and he's just a different player under David Moyes than he was under Bilic, and I'm absolutely loving what he's bringing to us at the minute. Well,
off he went for our little Mexican, and then Gonzo, from that point on, the fact that we had that extra goal, Hernandez was almost essentially a two up front. Did it feel like to you there was a case of how many more are we going to score before the final whistle goes?
No, I think I'm so starved of success and so starved of goals and so starved of victories that I think a third goal was on the cards in that sense. I was just pleased to be winning 2-0. I was just relieved to know at that point we were going to win the game, which at that point we were. So no, I'd not given a third goal a thought, and it was a real cherry on top of the cake when the third goal came.
I don't know. I thought until we got the third one, I thought we could have had a couple more, and even after we got the third one, I thought we could still go and score. I thought we could have ended up with 4 or 5.
So did I. After the third one, I thought we probably will get a few more, but I'm just saying at 2-0, I was just thinking, oh, thank goodness for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought we missed some chances, especially that one with Sakho at the back post when Hernandez chipped up to him and he sort of chested it down for some reason and bobbled about with it. But in the 86th minute, Tom, from the Stoke villain to the West Ham villain, Diafra Sakho decided to get in on the act. But it was more fantastic passing to get this goal. Obiang's pass to Lanzini for me is Beautiful. We spoke about Mark Nobles the other night against Arsenal when he gave it to Hernandez. This pass from Obiang to Lanzini was just perfection. Lanzini did his run, played Sakho through 3-0. Easy as that. Deserved, Tom?
I think so. I think towards the end of the game, I think we definitely created the better chances in the game. Obviously, we do need to work on our finishing because it's not just Arnautovic today. There was a few chances you could say squandered, especially that one with Sakho at the back post. I don't know where or how or why he's bowled it. It was a beautiful ball. You expect him to bury it. It definitely could have been 5, 6, or even more at times. You felt like today. So to be honest with you, I could say definitely, yeah, why not? For the first time this season, it was deserved. I mean, Stoke have been awful at the back this season. They proved it once again today. And it was, like I said, yeah, well deserved. And it was nice to see Sakho get on the score sheet again, and obviously as well playing slightly better under Moyes, you could say, than under Bilic.
Tom, although he didn't score and he was only on the pitch for 12 minutes, Hernandez, he'd come on. He looked, in my opinion, looked lively. Did that chance for Sakho. He had that chance at the end where he sort of did his own little work and then forced a decent save. Did he impress you tonight, Tom? Is he sort of begging to be started, or at least given a chance in the cup game against Arsenal to show what he can do under Moyes?
I think so. I loved Antonio's work rate for the last 3 games. But he looks like he needs a break. It's been 3 games in a week. Obviously, Christmas period is always going to be busy. But Hernandez just shows that edge that you don't see from Antonio and Sakho, that quality to turn the last defender or even just control the ball properly. We know that Antonio struggles with that most of the time. But he just looks like he offers that bit of quality. And of course, he's a quality striker at the end of the day. And it was just a shame he couldn't get his goal at the end. But he's, like you said, both Arsenal and now Stoke, he's only had those few minutes, but he's made that impact to say to Moyes and stand up and say, look, all right, I need to be starting. So I definitely give him the start in midweek, or maybe even start Sakho with him. Just give the squad a rest on Wednesday, and just to see what a few of the other guys have to offer in this Moyes system.
Gonzo, a lot of people have had the question about David Moyes. Although he played well in the last 3 games, it's all been big teams where you're expected to defend with 30%. And we did it in the preview ourselves. We said, can you do it against sides that you're going to have more of the ball? You're going to be expected to go and attack. Has he answered those questions tonight, or do we have to sort of approach it with caution? Because let's be honest, Stoke were crap.
Yeah, I'm still cautious. Okay, so I still think Moyes was damaged goods when he came into us. He needed to repair his reputation. I think he's going a long way to doing that now. But he's also on a 6-month contract. We needed repairing. We needed fixing as well. We were down the bottom. He's dragging us out. To do what we did against Chelsea, to do what we did against Arsenal, and then to do what we did against Stoke, which is very un-West Ham-like. We really, we could have done what we did against Chelsea, and then we lose against Stoke, the bottom of the team. It's set in the West Ham way, in fact, is actually Sado Berahino, who's not scored in a couple of millennia, is actually coming in and scoring today. That's what happens to West Ham. He seems to have rubbed all that out, okay? But having said that, I thought today there were times when we stood back too much. We retreated like we were playing Arsenal or Chelsea, and I didn't like that. Having said that, we've won, and we've won 3-0. So what do I know? I'm just a plumber sitting in a cupboard talking about football. He's a football manager who's going on a little run now. So I think we proceed with a little bit of caution in terms of the big picture. People call him the Moyes sire, don't they? I'm not quite proclaiming him as the Messiah just yet, but he's always not a naughty boy either. So I'm happy with the work he's doing,
Where did it go right today then, Gonzo? I mean, do we have to give a little bit of sort of, like you said, it was Stoke, a team down at the bottom. They were pretty poor today. They look like relegation can. They look like what West Ham looked like under Bilic at the end of his tenure, if you like. So we'll have to take that in. But where's it also gone really right today? Because when was the last time we won 3-0 in a game?
I don't know. I don't know, and I was wondering that as well, and someone will post it below. Or they're probably posting it in the live chat right now. But I think Tom made a really good point, and that was that Collins had seamlessly moved in without any sort of discernible difference. And that's what happens when you build a unit and you drill people well in training. Everybody knows their job. So actually you could take Winston Reid out of that formation and put James Collins in, and the same thing happens. It's the same thing like when Rice came on. Obviously Noble's job was to shield the back 4 or part of it. Rice comes in. He's been drilled in the week. Moyes would have known that he was was going to make that substitution. He knew that if I get a substitution, if I get an injury in central midfield, I'm going to bring on Rice. That would have been done in training. So obviously, he would have hoped Noble lasts a game and Obiang lasts a game, but there's a contingency plan. And I just think where it's going right is I think just Moyes has got us very, very well organised. And I think probably the difference is that we have enough good players that we can counter-attack. He's probably convinced. I think it's probably part of the plan for Antonio to run them into the ground, then bring on a bit more quality, if you like, make them knackered, then we counter-attack. But I just think in players like Arnautovic and Lanzini and Masuaku, he's probably got a bit more quality at his disposal than he had at Sunderland. And I think we just got the old David Moyes. He's doing now what he did when he first joined Everton.
Tom, one thing we've been talking about we've been talking about sort of what David Moyes has done to make us strong, make us well organised, make us good. Going by what you've seen over the last 90 minutes in the last 3 games, would it be fair to say David Moyes has almost removed our obvious weaknesses, if you like? Because James Collins, even under Allardyce and under Bilic, when he come in, most West Ham fans would have went, not fancying that. But would you say that Moyes has perhaps removed our weaknesses?
I think so, 110%. He's offered a different look. I think obviously teams are looking for us to be, almost the easy target, to break us down easily. They've seen how we've been scored on this week. And Moyes has been very open about it. He said the first things first, when I come in here, I'm sorting out the defence. And we've seen that. They've just been a regimented unit. They've been disciplined. They talk to each other a lot more. I think having Adrian back in goal has been a game changer really for us. It's been a big change. It's funny that I have to say that because I expected that from Joe Hart from when he came in at the start of the season. But I just think that Moyes' plan has obviously worked, and there isn't too much to say about it other than it has had to take teams back. And I know that the likes of Guardiola and even Conte and Wenger all said it's so difficult to break a team down when you're putting 11 men behind the ball. But we have to realise the situation we're in. We have to realise, that we need points. And unfortunately, sometimes that's the way that we're going to have to do it. But do you know what? In doing so, it has built such a confidence over the last 48, 72 hours, however long you want to say. And it's obviously led to how we've performed and we've played today. And I think just having Moyes in charge has rejuvenated a lot of those players. And it's brilliant to see, especially today. I know it's against a weaker Stoke team, but to a level that we could potentially get to and where we can go, after Christmas.
Tom, just quickly pick out a couple of players that you think have done really well today, deserve your praise and etc. Don't give me your man of the match yet.
I think Arnautovic was brilliant. I know, obviously, he missed a few chances, but he created those chances for and he put one away. But I thought he was fantastic today. He didn't stop running and got the goal he deserved. It's 2 in 3 now. And I thought Lanzini again. Lanzini at times we discussed. I saw a few of the boys from West Ham Fan TV, their interviews. I know Luke Malden, our friend, said didn't see him fitting in under this system, which is completely 100% right. But I thought he was brilliant today. I thought he worked really well, really hard. A special mention for Declan Rice as well. I know this is difficult for him being chucked in halfway through the first half, but I thought he didn't look out of place whatsoever today. So a really strong effort from a lot of the lads today, and it was fantastic to see.
Yeah, I think today, we were quite lucky to an extent that we played a really, really poor opponent. I don't think we could have played a better opponent this weekend than we did with Stoke. And it was a case of, as soon as we got one, their heads were going a little bit. They started flying into challenges. We gave as much back as we got with the tackles in the first half. But it was good to see that we weren't going to get bullied. They tried to bully us a little bit, and we stood up to that. I said, no, you're not going to bully us. We'll fight back physically as well. And then it came down to about who was better at football, who was better with the ball. And that's when we ran out 3-0 winners. We got tested today more in the box than we did against Arsenal and Chelsea, I think. As mad as that sounds, I genuinely think Stoke put in better crosses with Charlie Adam in that second half than we saw Chelsea and Arsenal do over 90 minutes. And we stood up to that as well. They have big players in that box. Shawcross was up there quite a lot, Crouch, etc. And we stood up. And it was a different test for Alan Creswell. He's one player that keeps on just showing that he can actually convert to a left centre-back. He's up against some of the best headers of the ball, and he's still doing well against there. He's got to keep an eye on Masuaku, who's not the most defensively sound player. But against Shaqiri, of all people, did it superb. The centre midfield were fantastic again. Like Gonzo said, he took out Noble, Rice went in. You couldn't have noticed a difference. Honestly, you could have put Mark Noble's mask on. You would have thought it was Mark Noble playing. It was that effortlessly. To be fair, actually, no, I've got no complaints with this one. But Gonzo, what about you? Pick out a couple of players, preferably not the ones Tom's chose.
No, I'm glad you mentioned Cresswell then, actually, because I'd shamelessly I'd forgotten about him, but he was very good, and I noticed a few times he's bringing the ball out of defence. I think when you play a back three, if you do that traditionally, you have three centre backs, and it was actually the Germans that invented that system, and they would traditionally play with a sweeper. So your sweeper would have control of football. He would come out because you can't have three absolute stoppers or dinosaurs at the back who can't get and who can't kick the ball out. And I think Aaron Cresswell, even though he's playing the left of the three, offers you that. He's the one that can bring the ball out of defence, play a pass, or get his head up. So I think he does really well. Obiang also was very good. Whilst you're absolutely right, a lot of the balls came into the box. I also think when they had that bit of pressure, we were actually stopping them quite a lot in midfield. I do think Declan Rice was winning some tackles. I think Obiang as well, and they were creating a nice shield there. So that was also nice to see.
Just to touch on your Cresswell thing, I think that's a good point. I think it actually helps us he's on the left, because if he was on the right, he'd sort of be ushering Zabaleta forward and running in behind Zabaleta. But on the left, he's ushering Masuaku forward and he's running in behind Masuaku. And then when Masuaku's man naturally comes Cresswell, then he's got the opening. I didn't notice that today. At one point, he got it. And at Bon, I was waving to him, going, just dribble with it. And as soon as he did it, Obiang sort of took a couple of steps to the left as if to say, I'll fill in here as the other centre-back. Where you go? Fantastic. But anyway, Tom, what's your final thoughts? Make it nice and quick.
No, I was literally just going to say that's something we could potentially look to exploit for the rest of the season. You know, obviously when Reed comes back and Fonte, maybe even just keeping Cresswell in there, it's something that we've seen that can work in this league. You know, if it's with, I know it's just probably some of the better teams, but if you look across European football, a lot of the top teams do it. They have a faster centre back, or the left centre back or right centre back. They have potentially a left back converted in there. You know, you can see Monreal plays that for Arsenal. You know, Azpilicueta can play that for Chelsea, even Alaba for Bayern Munich. And I'm not saying we can do it, but if we can do it well, and we've got someone as explosive as Masuaku at left back or left wing back that can work in that tandem that we hope that they could potentially do together. I would love to see that for the rest of the season, even if it means keeping Cresswell in that left centre back role.
Tom, man of match.
Arnautovic, and I'm not doing just saying that to piss the Stoke fans off. I thought he was brilliant today. I would love to say probably Lanzini would probably be close behind, but just because I've loved what I've seen with him so far under Moyes, and to get his goal again today, and especially to give it to the Stoke fans by sticking up the iron sign, it was it definitely kept my man of the match today.
Gonzo, what's your final thoughts on this one?
My final thoughts on this is I'm just on the laptop now, which is something we've not spoken about, and that's our league position. And so that's brilliant. We are now sat in 15th, and the big thing is because I looked at the goal difference before start of today, and we've actually turned that to 5 against Stoke. So Stoke are minus 20. We are now minus 15. When you're at the bottom of the league, to win 3-0 is a huge thing on goal difference, because when you hopefully we won't be battling relegation or last hour or anything like that. But if you were to have a better goal difference than the others, is worth an additional point. So today's a huge win, 3-0 up to 15th. That's great news after the run of fixtures we've just had. Those would be my final thoughts. And my man of the match today, I'm going to give it to Lanzini, involved in all 3 goals. First one might have been a bit sketchy, but lovely ball over for Arnautovic, and then played a cute ball. And I thought, from what I saw, which I said was mostly the second half, he seemed to control the game, relatively well. So Manuel Lanzini for me today.
The best thing I thought about today, it's strange. I know I like these little things. We're playing out from defence into centre midfield today a lot, and I really, really enjoy watching basic things like that happen. I really enjoy us having possession instead of just hoofing it, giving it to Obiang, giving it to Noble or Rice, whoever, and we were doing that a lot today, and I really, really enjoy seeing that. I thought Lanzini was absolutely superb, really brilliant. I've been questioning, can he play under Moyes' system? How's Moyes going to play him? He was clearly further forward today. To be honest, I think he was more further forward than Antonio Arnautovic. One of them was always a striker. The other one was sort of on the right a little bit, and Lanzini had that role in the hole, and that's where we want to see him. But he was superb. His technical ability is just unbelievable. That pass for the second goal is disgusting. That's the type of thing you'd expect to see from Man City on Match of the Day. Honestly, how he's done that, I don't know. It's just filthy. But my man of match, Pedro Obiang, I thought he was just superb in there. He didn't put a foot wrong, I don't think. There was a couple of times early on he did a couple of fouls, and I thought, oh, he's going to get a booking pretty quick here. And Shaqiri was trying to get him booked, but he kept his head, he kept his composure. And that pass for that third goal, wait until you watch the highlights again tonight. That pass he does to Lanzini for that third goal is just perfection. He just cuts out the whole Stoke team with that one ball, bang, into Lanzini's feet. Lanzini turns. It's him and Sakho against one Stoke player. He was superb in front of that defence. And he had Declan Rice next to him. And while Rice is good, while he's done well, he's still inexperienced. He's still going to need guidance. And I've got no doubt that Obiang would have had to sort of marshal him through that. Him and Ogbonna, the two players have really, really impressed me over the last few games in terms of how they've improved under David Moyes. But anyway, you guys at home, let us know who you think was your man and match. Drop it in the comments below or come on to our forum at hammerschat.com. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you're new. We're actually back tomorrow night, Sunday night at 8:30, doing our preview of the Arsenal game because that's on Tuesday night. So we're doing a preview tomorrow night. So we've got loads of videos coming up with you. Me and Gonzo will try and squeeze in a cup of tea somewhere before Christmas. But until then, we'll catch you in a bit.